Ah, yes, a lovely image, isn't it? I've made a little bit more headway on the Sonus Aetheria project, and one of the big things is it actually builds. I made sure to make sure that that works. And that's what you're actually looking at right now, is a fully built version of it, which creates a randomized, like before, randomized output and world generation that's not been connected to the sound analysis system quite yet, but I do have that started, and it is pulling stuff into the file. In fact, by starting this thing, it has written data to a text file in my C drive, which was a big deal. But just to kind of show off what I've got going on right now, I have some nice music and a main menu, which is a handmade world that's not any of the other ones. It just has all the assets from the other ones. In fact, all the scrolling stuff on it is not in the version that's currently built right now. It's the Woods version. But the settings work, so for instance, if I go in here, I can change the draw distance to, like, not far and far, although far is actually a tiny bit too much for what I have going on right now. My optimization is still not quite right, so I'm just going to stick it to medium and it'll be fine. Shadow quality can be set to poop, or good, or medium, but you know, come on. And we can set it to full VHS quality if you set that all the way down, but we're not going to do that. So if I go back here and hit start, it'll open up the level that creates all this stuff, and it has its own start menu as well, but starting animation as well. As you can see, we're no longer starting in the middle of nowhere. We're starting in this nice little room, which gives you just cute little glimpses at what lies outside, as it's just suggested for you to look around. You have a lantern which defaults to on, and I haven't been able to fix that. It always defaults to on, even though I have it set to off, which is annoying, to say the least. And it is exactly the same as the one on the wall. Yes. Yes. Burn your eyes. Increase the light. All of the textures here have been handmade using noise and the normal map plugin from GIMP. So that's why it's like slightly crusty, but like good crusty, I guess. And the water is immune to depth of field. That is 100% new to me. That's actually really interesting. But if we actually get out of here and explore a little bit, we are joined by this nice Technicolor world. I finished up the last couple of landscape segments. This is one of the newer ones, the river plain segment, with an obelisk. And we can see we have some bushes here. You can walk right into them and hide in the bushes. Eventually, whenever I have NPCs and stuff in here, I want to put an overlap event on these bushes that will basically set them to not be able to see you whenever you're inside of one, or be less likely. And because they don't have any collision right now, the depth of field doesn't touch them. It's a very cotton candy world right now. If I hit the button... Ooh, that's even worse. Too light. Yeah, too purple. Too gray. Almost. Too pink. That's fluorescent. Okay, I'll keep that one. Almost right. But the river segment's kind of nice because, like, you had my weird thick-looking water. Whoa! Weird. This might not be the... Oh, this isn't the river segment. It's one of the other ones. Some of these I've accidentally left the water no-clip, and I don't have my schwim in yet. So I just go and explore these woods. They look really nice. I'm very fond of how they're turning out. The bushes, I don't know if I quite like them yet. They make it a little bit busy, but it's kind of realistic. Even though they're made exactly the same as the trees, just without any sort of trunk. They're nice. And add a little bit of variation to the world, and I'm tired of that pink. Ugh. Oh, I just can't win with the colors. Yeah, I'm really digging it, this blue color. It often gets the blue color, and it's very nice. I really like it. And the maroon trees. Unreal 4 shades, like, ultramarine blue and maroon really, really well. Much better than green, I think. They just look excellent. Ah, there we go. That's a little bit more. Yeah, I'm really digging the color change, and whenever I get this sensing sound to do the colors, it'll look really nice, and I can make the color schemes a little bit more contiguous. And I'll probably have that. I mean, I better have that by Monday, because it's crunch time, and this shit's gotta get done. I've already actually presented this to my class on my laptop at a full 13 FPS at the lowest graphic settings, even further than this does, because do I even remember the command to do this? This is r dot screen percentage. Yes, screen percentage. Oh god, turning it off. I made a mistake. It's yeah, it's 100% scale, not a 1 to scale. Yeah, it's full crust. Full crust. And we're back. Very Technicolor right now. I think it's my time slot. Let's... Oh, okay. Having too much fun with that button. Completely changes the feel of the world. What time is it? It's turning nighttime. And before it goes fully dark, I might show I've got a particle effect made. Oh, that lagged a little bit. For the dead world, which isn't rendered in this, and I can't make it because of reasons. I'd have to rebuild it, and I'm not worried about that right now. These are ashes falling. It's supposed to be like something's on fire in the distance. It's nice. You can look up and see them. I'm planning on putting some of these in the woods that aren't ashes. There's something else to look like little glow plugs or glittery something. Although you can actually outrun the particle effect by going downhill, which is unfortunate. I don't want to make it any bigger because of performance reasons, but I kind of want to figure that out. Oh, these look great at night. Very glowy. In the near future, I will have a better, like, settings menu, because I have a sneaking suspicion that if anybody actually wants to play this, they're not gonna, you know, some people don't like motion blur. I think this is a little bit much, but I kind of like just a tiny bit. But it would be nice to be able to turn that down. So if we go out here in nighttime, it's dark. There are a solution to being in the dark. One is turn up the gamma on your screen. No, but I can just hit F and, oh look, we've got a lamp. It's not directional. We've got some nice subsurface of, oh, that's bright. I put subsurface in the grass too, and I'm pretty sure that didn't affect the performance too much. It added one extra calculation step on the grass, which, well, whenever you've got 100,000 of them, that kind of makes a difference. But, like, I mean, I'm still running fine if I just... Yeah, 62? Oh. I felt like I was dropping frames. The woods are really heavy on the system, and it might have actually put my settings back. I can set it to close, which will 100% fix that. Although it makes the grass go closer to you. I'm really digging the woods. The woods are really nice. It's kind of creepy at night. Like, I'm expecting something to jump out, but, like, why would I? I know for a fact nothing's going to jump out at me because I made this. If we go up here to the top of this mountain, let's not get trapped in the trapping tree. There's one particular tree type that I accidentally left the collision on the leaves. And there's one of these mountains in particular, I think it might be this one, that I always end up running up and trying to climb like it's Skyrim, and getting trapped in the tree, fully stuck. The solution to this is just... Oh, wow! Look at this, I can climb infinite building. And look out over the lovely hills that we have. I can see my little castle. We've walked all the way over here. Yes. And set our draw distance to something, like, better. So yeah, that's what she looks like whenever you get it out a little bit. I'm still doing some optimizations on figuring out exactly how to keep it running nice, because I do like the draw distance a little bit further here, although it is almost far out. I've noticed a little bit of an illusion with having a closer draw distance. It makes the world seem bigger, because whenever you, like, run the trees, like, what is this? To, like, 2. And you start rendering the trees all the way out there, you kind of get a feel for, you know, how actually small it is. It feels a lot bigger whenever you have it set smaller. So if I go and just, you know, slammy. It looks bigger, which is nice. Still like, you know, more grass. Which is weird, because I was actually getting, like, better performance in the editor, which is fucked, to be honest. But I didn't walk through this zone. The zone right here has a lot of crap in it. Let me just break my legs. And, yeah, see, the grass isn't even spawning yet. There it is. But I think I might have set the concentration a little bit high. I can cull it out a little bit, but, you know, it'll be fine. As long as I can keep a solid 60. I'm keeping in mind that, like, I'm going to be presenting on slightly lesser hardware, so I want to be able to turn it down and have it still look nice. This area looks fine. I don't have escape set to get out of that. Yeah, it's just like there's the certain direction of yikes. And usually if I run in the direction of, you know, frame rate forest, we can see what's going on. God, I can feel the choppiness in my soul. Yeah, there's just a bunch of crap right here. See, I've actually just walked through it. So it's just a really dense area of woods. There's too many objects. You can tell I haven't used my menu that much because I'm not used to it, although it's different than a lot of other things. And as you might have heard, there was a track that played at the very beginning, and I do have more of those, and it's set to randomly choose one. So if I go in here to... Thank you, console. We'll load it up. Ooh, different zone. And just like that, we get an absolutely beautiful color palette with this maroon and the blue. I'm really digging this. Like, it never seems to end. Every time I start this thing, I just love walking around and looking at this, what I've created, and it's just fantastic. And I mean, it's sort of like, if you've played around Blender at all, you can tell these are sapling trees, and a lot of them are sort of almost default values. But it's, you know, they look fine, and it's almost kind of unique. I've not really seen a lot of games with that type of tree, with the, you know, pretty nice looking branch. It's just like the trunk is there, but the leaves float off of them. And these are just a pile of floating leaves that are just simple hexagons, but they look like trees. And everything is super smooth. And I'm really enjoying making this. I do have plans to add quests in the future with some NPCs and some of the little buildings like that there. And I believe the way I'm going to link those together will be, you know, there'll be an NPC in a cell, one of these cells, and the associated other NPC or object will be, like, spawned up in the sky and fall into the world. So, yeah, good luck if they land in a tree. But it'll displace them. There's the river, biome area. Actually. And you can see the edge of the world. This one in particular is 16 chunks. So that's, well, a little over 16 square kilometers. It does seem to run fine with larger values. I was getting normal results with, 6x6, which makes it bigger than Skyrim, but just a tiny bit. Maybe a tiny bit smaller. Pretty much the same. It's like 36, 37 square kilometers, and it's big. So yeah, that would take a minute to walk across, assuming the walk speed and this is the same. This is the very default character. I need to, I don't have no run. So I need to increase the run. And on this one, I might actually be able to push my, speed up a little bit, so if I go to... It's draw, not daw. It's view distance. Yeah, I'm under the illusion that I'm not actually a dumbass, but, you know, I could be. 0.75 is generally where this thing was running best at. It's kind of weird that that one specific area was giving me trouble. I will look into that and see about fixing it. I might put a more aggressive lot on the grass and trees. And maybe it is a subsurface. Or the bushes. Just hitting like the hairy edge of what my rig can do. Part of me wants to blame my my memory. But that's an issue for another topic with the... wow, I brain farted hard. The hodgepodge of random bullshit and mistakes that are what my computer is. Let's just say that I've got a 6700K and a B150 board. Yeah. But it can make beautiful things like this. I'm having a great time. And if anybody has any, like, suggestions, well, for the time being, for the next, like, 3 weeks, I will ignore them so I don't have to cite random people. But if anybody has suggestions or things they'd like to see, or tips or tricks on how to do this, please leave a comment. I would love to see what people think of this. Because eventually I do plan, like, I do want to, like, publish this at some point, because it is kind of an interesting thing. And it is modular, so all of these landscape chunks could just be, like, have a new one made. Which would be really easy. I'm planning on making more of them, so there's more variation in the world. And even doing things where, like, there's identical copies of them, but this one has, like, different structures on it. This is the forest world, I believe I mentioned that before, and each one of these has a, obelisk in it, which is just some random extra thing I made using some of the spire textures, because that world's full of those kind of things. Ah, there's one. I'll go and walk up to it and you'll see that absolutely nothing happens, although something should happen. So I'd like to make something happen with that. Oh, it's turning nighttime. Yeah, I still need to tweak the morning time of the day-night cycle, because the sun, like, rises to, like, there before it turns the sun on, because I have the angle set a little bit wrong. But we can fix that. I can just walk around endlessly. This is kind of like just the base underlying mesh that I've just put grass on to, like, what an actual open world game would have. Yeah, look at this thing. We got, oh, it's shiny. The shiny actually shows. That looks excellent. Some lamp action. Yeah, I need to work on my metallic textures a little bit, because they get this edge around it, and it's because the color texture is the same size as the metallic filter, but the metallic filter has a hard edge to it, so it doesn't have any of the blurring, so the blurring makes it go around the outside of the thing, and you get this, like, border. So if I could figure out how to turn off texture filtering, I'd just, you know, Google. That would help with that, or make my, just make my texture better and not suck. So you've got this, like, strangely shaped, slightly metallic object is floating here. It's kind of, well, I bounced like a million miles. It's kind of a weird shape to look at, because it's constantly shifting between symmetric and asymmetric, like, whenever you look at it. But if you see the edges, it's basically just a stretched out cube. It's six-sided. Or, I mean, it has 6 faces. And I spent a long time trying to make it translucent, and that's a pain in the ass. Especially if you try to do refraction, because of the way that Unreal cheats at refraction, kind of, like, shifts the image. Although I'm considering making a second version of that with a very refractive spire part of it, the floating bit, that's clear, because that would just look kind of wild. I don't know if it was in the last one, because I didn't research my own stuff, but yeah, I got the sky moving, which looks nice. And some, like, Northern Light type stuff. Well, not Northern Light, but, Milky Way type stuff. So yeah, let's let this dusk be the dusk of the video. If anybody has any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. Feel free to leave a like if you liked it, because boy howdy I do. And this is where I'll sign off.